Jordo here. Hello, everyone. AJ Brown, a Patriot, all but confirmed after round one of the NFL draft. We'll get into that a little bit later. I want to start out first with Bruins game three. Got some stuff to talk about here. I want to start out with the refs. I've been very disappointed throughout all the series, including this one. Buffalo and Boston side. I got a lot of friends that are Buffalo fans. Um, the refs are heavy on the whistle, with the penalties and we're in playoff hockey. In the regular season, I understand 82 games, long season, protect the players, keep them healthy, police the game. When we get in the playoffs, there's a lot on the line. 7 game series, there's a lot of animosity there. Build up to the regular season, and then as the season, every series progresses, right? And they're just very heavy on the whistles. You got to let the boys play. You cannot be calling soft stuff. I don't want to see 11 power plays in a hockey game. You know what I mean? I think the Bruins had 5 or 6, and that's another thing. The power plays in this series have been terrible on both ends. A lot of power plays. I think both teams are under 20%, which I mean, just on the Bruins side of things, the power play is terrible. 5 or 6 last night, didn't score in any of them. Get out to the early lead, that's a good thing. I think we've done that in every series. Taking the 1-0 lead first. I know game one we had the big collapse. Game two we almost did it again. Weathered the storm pretty well. But yeah, game three we jumped out to a lead. Missed a penalty shot, which could have made it 2-0. Didn't even hit the net. I don't like seeing that. Um, I have a problem, and I said this in my last video about the Bruins series, but I don't like the way they're playing. We're sitting back and we're inviting pressure and we're waiting for their defense and their forwards to make mistakes in the neutral zone and high up on the RD zone, their offensive zone around the blue line, and trying to shoot on the counterattack for breakaways and 2-on-1s. And when it works, that's fantastic and beautiful. But when it doesn't, which is more often than not, it can be disastrous. And I think that's what we're seeing these collapses and these inabilities to hold leads as we're sitting back. Right, we get that early lead and then we kind of sit back and play a little bit more complacent, and it doesn't work against a team like Buffalo, second in the NHL in D core goals, right? Their D men scored the second most goals in the NHL. We don't want to invite that pressure. Those shots from the point, once they get in the zone and you give shots from the point and pressure from the point, anything can happen. The puck can hit a skate, it can hit, an ass and go in, it can get tipped, a rebound, the goalie can get screened and not catch an easy shot. You got Bone Byram, you got Darlene, you got Powers. They got a lot of offensive firepower up on the point, and we don't want to. I would rather see Tage Thompson get more shots, even with as scary as his shot is. I think it's a lot easier to guard those guys in closer to the net, keep them right outside the dots, let them shoot from there. I think our goalies, Swayman can make those saves. He had a great game last night. Um, we got to change the system going forward. I think games 4 through 7, if we want a chance at this series, which I didn't think we really did going into it. I think Buffalo is a very hard team to play against because of their firepower, their offensive firepower on defense. Never mind what they have on offense with Thompson and some of those other guys. I think we need to get pressure. We need as soon as there's a turnover, someone has to be pressuring, right? We got to set. It doesn't have to be full blown. Everybody go. We can still sit back and play passing lanes and all that, but we got to put pressure on the puck carrier, starting in their D zone. We got to just go. We got to make them uncomfortable, make them make mistakes. If we want to do kind of, a pressure and then a guy high as a shadow, loose puck, quick 2-on-1, shot for rebound, pass over, tipper, mini breakaway, something like that. That's a better plan to me. Yeah, so we got game four, 2 days from today, or maybe tomorrow. I got to look at the schedule. Sometimes it's a 1 day break, sometimes it's a two, but I believe it's tomorrow. Thursday. It is Thursday. It's Thursday. Wait. That was sorry, Sunday. Looked at the schedule backwards. So Sunday is the next game. So we do get a Friday Saturday break. Um, Celtics play tonight, game three against the 76ers. I don't see the series going 7. I think we close it in 5 or 6. I don't think the 76ers have the top to bottom talent like we do, and the difference makers coming off the bench. They don't really have that like we do. Um, Game one we dominated. Game two we kind of got our butts whooped, but that's kind of just how we won the championship with this kind of play style. We're very streaky. We do rely heavily on 3-point shooting and ISO scoring. We do move the ball well and have a good defense, but when the shooters are off, we've seen the Celtics over the last I don't even know how many years I could say this for, but when the shooters are off, we struggle. We struggle to find other ways to score. We start to get it, run in the paint, just kind of chuck things up and try to get things going instead of being patient, trying to open up the floor. I do think we win the game tonight. But what I really wanted to touch on, and the exciting part of this video, AJ Brown to the New England Patriots has been all but confirmed. The Eagles draft Mekhi Lemon, wide receiver out of USC, a very good prospect. And that's got to basically hint that someone's out the door. I don't imagine the Eagles. Let's touch on this real quick. The Eagles always draft almost perfect. I think they always draft at least a B plus or higher every draft. You see it. They don't re-sign guys to expensive deals because they bring in the right talent in the draft to be able to, replace them and push them out the door and save money. They pay the guys they need to, but they draft so well, and I don't see them. I don't see them not being aware. Like some teams are unaware of their team's makeup. The Eagles are very aware of who they are, their identity. Um, it, the frustration with AJ Brown and all of this starts from the fact that they're unable to get the ball to two elite receivers, right? Devontae Smith on any other team is probably a top 10 wide receiver in the league year in and year out. AJ Brown is in Philly a top 10 wide receiver in a more pass heavy offense with, a more pass first style. He'd be top 5. He'd be right up there with Lamb and Jefferson and, Chase and right in that conversation. Fringe top 5 guy, top 8 for sure. Talent wise, he's up there, but Howie Roseman's. I guess what I want to say first is not Gary Bettman. Roger Goodell. He spoke out after the pick and he said, the Eagles do get some insurance with the looming AJ Brown to the Patriots trade. That when the commissioner speaks on that means it's more than rumors. There are advanced talks going on at least. There is a lot of truth behind the rumors, and whether or not it works out, something could happen. Who knows? It could end up being they get a better offer for Devontae Smith to go somewhere else. But to go out and get that wide receiver in the first round, they got, something's already in the works. They wouldn't just go do that in case maybe it happens. What they would do is take a guy in the second or third round, right? Because then you still have the talent there, you have the potential upside. But that first round capital is so important, and the Eagles know how to address that and how to utilize that capital. So AJ Brown is probably New England Patriot. That is exciting. Howie Roseman, I'm going to read his quote here. He did speak out, and he said, I think for us again, AJ is a member of the Eagles. When asked about the trade rumors with AJ Brown and the draft choice of Mekhi Lemon, we don't have trades that have been made or that are done, and I think for the Eagles, we're taking this one day at a time. We're going to look to improve the team tomorrow, and we'll continue to address anything that we have to with our roster, not only through this draft weekend, but we'll continue to look for ways to improve the team throughout the offseason. That's basically just bullshit hocus pocus talk about AJ Brown's gone, but there's nothing official, so I'm not going to speak on it. I'm not going to leak anything or ruin anything. So let me know what you guys think about AJ Brown being a Patriot. I think this is a huge, huge thing. Stephon Diggs was great, 1,000 yards, and he was a good receiver for us, but he's past his prime. Bringing AJ Brown in will really amp this offense up another level, especially with Romeo Dubes. I don't know what this means for Pop Douglas or Keyshawn Butte, Mac Hollins. I know we utilize a lot of different formations with different receivers, and they'll get their touches, but someone's going to be out the door. I'm going to imagine. Now, I would imagine Butte would be the one out the door to Philly. I would hate to see that because I think he's earned at least a wide receiver 2 role in this league, and I don't think he's going to jump over Mekhi Lemon in Philly, and definitely Devontae Smith is the wide receiver 1. Not taking that role. But something that's interesting that I haven't seen many people talk about that I wonder, I haven't seen any. I've seen, how people online, they make up mock trades and whatever. I haven't seen any truth or anything official from a good source yet behind this trade. I actually thought that we were going to give up our first round pick in this draft for Brown, but that wouldn't make sense since, it's probably not going to happen until the beginning of June when there's that luxury tax kind of forgiveness whole thing is why the trade's being delayed is Philly wants to save some money. I did like us trading up to get our offensive tackle. Let me not butcher his name here. Caleb Lomu. I might have butchered the last name. I think we all saw that zesty little dance he kind of did. And if he comes in, plays football, and does good, we ain't going to talk about it. If he sucks, we're going to talk about that zesty little dance that happened. But that's, down the road. I wish him all the best. Redshirt sophomore out of Utah. Good player, good player. Um, we traded with the Bills, and there's something in my brain I don't love, especially early, round one, round two, round three. I don't love interdivisional trades at all in football, but especially not that early in the draft because a lot of prospects, a lot of upside, and you'd hate to trade with a team in your division and then your pick, even if they work out and they're a good career player, you would hate for the team you traded with to get a guy that's a difference maker and you got to play him twice a year, for a long time, and then the playoffs you'll see him. But all in all, Buffalo traded that pick to Tennessee, and it's fine. Keldrick Falk was the pick that Tennessee took. Um, if he was on Buffalo, I would have been a little scared to play against him. I think he fell a little bit in this draft. I actually liked him a little bit higher up. But yeah, so we did get Caleb Lomu, addressed the need of offensive tackle. That's great. Um, but back to what I wanted to say about the whole Keishon Butte and Pop Douglas thing. I got sidetracked. I'm sorry about that. Pop Douglas, I haven't seen a lot on this, but I could see him being the big wide receiver piece in this Philly trade. Makai Lemon kind of profiles the same as AJ Brown, just a big play receiver, right? Like Devontae Smith's got the speed. He runs those exciting routes down the field, and he gets open, and he's a burner. Sometimes he gets those quick slot catches and takes off. But AJ Brown is kind of the wide receiver A to the wide receiver, 1A, 1B. I think that Lemon kind of profiles the same way as a 1A. Can do a lot of routes on the route tree very well. Can make some big catches. Has the speed. Has the hands. Um, I could see Pop being a part of this trade, going in being the slot guy in Philly, kind of giving Jalen Hurts a really good check down option, a short yardage guy. I know they run the ball a lot. For how small he is, Pop is actually a pretty good run blocker. He's pretty good. I watched him last season. He actually is not too bad off the line, kind of blocking the D back, coming in helping on the run. So I could see that, and I could see us keeping Butte, but I just don't see where he profiles in. Like if we thought Butte was the guy, why would we go and get Romeo Dubes? So I don't know what that means for Butte. I thought he had a good year last year. I thought he was going to build on that. I mean, but this is confirmed. AJ Brown is coming here. I would be shocked if we don't end up with AJ Brown or Devontae Smith. Maybe somehow he's the one that comes here, but I'd be surprised if we don't end up with AJ Brown coming to Mike Vrabel. I also wanted to touch on the whole Vrabel incident. I think we have an issue where we hold everybody to the same standard. Um, Not that what he did was right, but what I'm trying to get at is these guys are pro athletes and coaches, and the main thing they do is sports. And yes, you're supposed to be a good role model, but it's the NFL. And let's call a spade a spade. How many of these guys are actually good role models? I wouldn't even put it at 50%. Like a lot of these guys have rap sheets, and I mean the NFL is just a revolving door of controversy and suspensions and court cases, and it just is what it is. And I think there is a little bit of an issue with tampering, I guess you could say, because she's a reporter for ESPN and she's a big name. Is she ESPN? Yeah, she's a big name, and just I can see where there's some issues and blah 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 blah. But she doesn't work for the Patriots. I don't see Vrabel being suspended. I think him going to get help and seek counseling is more of a saving face move with his family, with the organization, with the league, with the fans, with the observers, with the media. I don't think he's not going to be a Patriots coach, and I think because AJ Brown is coming here, the Patriots already know that. I don't think they would go. I think a big reason AJ Brown wants to come here is he has trust with Vrabel and knows what Vrabel can do with him, and he has faith that Drake May can do his thing, and he wouldn't go to a team he didn't think he was going to flourish at. He would stay in Philly because they are winning at the end of the day. They're a pretty good football team. Um, I kind of just want to get a little bit into a projection for next season as well. I know people call, Drake May the schedule and blah, 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 but I don't really buy that when you win 14 games and go to the Super Bowl. Injuries happen. That's a part of football. It happens in every playoff series every year. And other teams have had the easiest schedule in the league plenty of times. Every year there's a team that has to have the easiest schedule in the league. Not many of them win 14 games. 10, 11 is kind of like, oh, okay, but 14, I mean, and we beat playoff teams in the regular season. It wasn't. And the biggest thing for me that irritates me about the whole schedule thing, this is kind of a rant. This wasn't supposed to be part of the video, but you can't project a team to go under 500 and they win 14 games and then sit there and say it was an easy schedule. You projected, you saw the schedule, you saw the teams they were playing, and whether those teams performed or underperformed does not matter. What matters is the roster that you projected to be competitive and be able to beat the Patriots team. They got demolished, 14 wins. I see us winning, 11 to 13 games again next year. Especially if we get AJ Brown. I think he's going to have a. If you guys play fantasy football, especially Dynasty, because he's up there, 28, 29, go out there and buy him because, yeah, this is big. So, yeah, Celtics play tonight at 7, and excited to watch that. Hopefully we get up to 2-1 series lead. Patriots, Bruins play on what I believe is Sunday. So next Bruins game is Sunday at 2 versus the Sabres. So, I'll be tuning into the draft, rounds 2 through 7 and stuff, kind of keep an eye on the Patriots, see what goes on there. Watch the Celtics game tonight. I might not have a video out tomorrow, depending on what happens. But I will be going live for elimination games. So once we get up to series clinching games, I'll be live watching those. As we go forward, I will kind of schedule games to sit down and watch. But for now, since we're in the playoffs with the Celtics and the Bruins, I don't want to go live for everything. And the draft is going. There's just a lot going on right now with the Red Sox too. So yeah, thank you for watching. Let me know what you guys think about AJ Brown. Let me know what you think about the offensive tackle we drafted. Let me know what you think of what the Bruins should do going forward in this series to win it, because we've taken early leads in every game and it seems like we just can't hold on to it. And I'll catch you guys later. Thanks for watching.